right, so this morning I am going to be making crepes for my daughter, Melody. Melody, pop in the picture, say hello, just wave. Hi. Melody has come up and she has asked for me to make her favorite crepes, which is a recipe that I have taught all of my children. I used to call it the secret recipe, but they wrote the recipe and stuck it on the refrigerator and everybody was able to copy it, so it's no longer a secret recipe. I even didn't put the secret ingredient on the recipe. They wrote it on it anyway, so it is no longer a secret recipe. This recipe is one that I have actually tried many times on our foreign exchange students from France, and they have all agreed that it is an authentic recipe for crepes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly tell you the ingredients first so that you can then get them and have them ready to go, or you can watch the video and write them down so that you can then make them yourself. The amount we're going to make right now would be enough for a family of 4 to have a couple of crepes each, and maybe a really hungry child to have a third or fourth maybe. All right, so this recipe has 1/4 cup of butter, and I've got it already ready to go in the mixing bowl, and you'll see why. And you're going to need vanilla. You're going to have about a teaspoon of vanilla. You need salt. You're going to have about a teaspoon of salt. You're going to have 2 eggs. You're going to need some Pam, a frying pan, and a spatula. You want a non-stick one whenever possible, until you get used to making them, because otherwise they're really easy to burn, but the non-stick ones work pretty well. You're going to need milk, and in this case we're going to be doing a cup of milk, and we will be doing water as well, but that's just water. You're going to need sugar, and this is about a 1/2 cup for this recipe, and I'll tell you why it's about. And then you're going to need 2 cups of flour. The things you see here in the forefront are for afterwards, for eating the crepes with the lovely toppings. We have some sour cream, some preserves, and some powdered sugar, and those will come in a minute. So the very first thing you do when you're going to do this is you want melted butter. That's one of the things that makes the recipe kind of special. You're also going to want to whisk. I almost forgot the whisk. So it'll take about 30 seconds for that to melt down. And the reason why we melt the butter is because what we're going to do is we're going to take the sugar and we're going to saturate the butter. What that means is that we're going to put enough sugar in it so that the butter is completely filled with the sugar, and the sugar is all wet with the butter. So that's why it's kind of about amount, not exact, because you want it to just fit perfectly. So here with my butter melted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sugar and I'm going to kind of just kind of gently shake it back and forth so that I'm going all around the edges of the butter. I'm going to try to make sure that I get a little bit. Melody, can you bring the camera over and show them a little bit what this looks like here? See if you can kind of show how I'm just kind of gently putting in and how the sugar just kind of melts right into it, so you can't see. And when it starts to show and starts to leave a little bit of white sugar on the top, you know that you're getting close to saturation. And that's when you want to go back and hit all those little pockets where it still looks more like butter. And you get in there until it's just about perfect. And it isn't a perfect science. It's okay if there's a little bit more, but you definitely want to make sure that you have enough that your butter and your sugar are kind of mushed together. That's one of the secrets. Okay? And what I do is as soon as I've used an ingredient, I move it out of the way so that it's not a thing. The next thing I do is I take my my salt, because it's one of the things, and I'm just using a teaspoon, and I'm going to just kind of sprinkle it in so that it's kind of all over there, and that's good to go. And the next thing I'm going to put is my vanilla, and I do a teaspoon of vanilla for each batch, and this is a double batch, so I'm making 2. Okay. All right, and I move things out of the way so that I know that I've already used them. Now the reason why I then mix it up right now and kind of let it get kind of cool down a little bit is because if I put the eggs in here right now, they would actually start to cook because the butter is hot, and that would actually curdle the eggs and it'd be gross and it doesn't come out the same way. So you want to get them in there nice and kind of mixed together, but then you need it to cool down just enough that the eggs will not cook at all when they go in. So I do that for a second, and I'm going to use it. Sometimes it's a good idea to crack your eggs over a bowl so that in case there's any shell that doesn't go into your batter bowl, it'll just be over here and you can pull it out before you put them into the batter bowl. And until you get good at cracking eggs, it's really easy to have little teeny shells pop into your bowl, and you don't want that. Alrighty, so now my eggs are ready, and I think that probably, yeah, this is just looking like it's getting to normal thing. But immediately you want to start just mixing. Now when you're mixing with your whisk, you want to be just kind of at the bottom of the bowl so that it's touching at the bottom the entire time. And you just kind of dump the stuff in and just mix, 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 mix as fast as you can. And you just mix, mix, mix. You don't need to go all crazy. I'm just doing it all. My whisk is never leaving the bottom of the bowl, and it mixes it perfectly. Okay, and notice I do not have any curdling. Melody, can you bring me over to show? There's no curdling, and it just looks nice and kind of creamy brown. The brown is because of the vanilla. That's why it looks kind of brown. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the milk. And I'm just going to measure a cup of milk. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and put the milk away, because then I don't have to worry about it later. I like to clean as I go, because then there's less cleanup to do later. So again, I'm going to be just mixing at the bottom, and I'm just going to stir the milk in. And just, this is really easy because everything's still liquid, so it mixes really fast. And then I'm going to get my water. All right, 1 cup of water, same thing. All right, now this is all ready for me to put in the flour. Now a lot of people make a lot of mess when they do their flour, and it doesn't need to be that way. So let me show you. A lot of people also like to go, oh, just, do it slowly, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to once you get good at whisking. But I'm gonna do 1 cup at a time, just dump it in, and then I literally just spin, spin, spin. Melody, I'm gonna want you to actually show this so that you can kind of get the view of what's going on. And you'll notice that because I'm just stirring, 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 and then I can just scrape around the edge with the whisk without taking it out of the bowl, and I just stir really fast, really fast. And this is one where if you're a younger kid, you might want to have your mom or dad or somebody who's really good at spinning the thing to get in there and do it. And you just keep scraping. And then I'm going to add the next cup, and this is when it's going to start looking like batter. Now the thing about crepes is that what they are is just really liquidy pancakes is what it feels like, and there's no what they call leavening in it. So there's no baking powder or baking soda, so it will not raise. It will not get all puffy like pancakes do. Notice that I just go along and I just scrape the edges of the thing, and I just spin and spin and spin. And then once it's all one liquid, then you just get in there and spin, spin, spin until there's as few little bumps as possible. Now, if you want to use a blender, you certainly can. I mean, not blender, excuse me. What do you call those? The beaters, hand mixer, a hand mixer with beaters. You can do that. I just happen to like doing it the normal way because there's something satisfying in beating this into a little teeny smooth thing. All right, batter is done. We are ready to go. Now, what you need to watch out for when you are making crepes is that it's very easy to burn your first one if you're not careful. Or it's really easy for it to take so long because it's heating up. So come on over here. I am going to, I have a thing where I put my flipper so that it's ready to go. I have my pan ready to go. But what I like to do is I like to use a ladle so that when I pour, I don't have to worry about it getting down into the bowl, and it makes it nice and easy for doing this. Now I'm going to turn on this. This is a stove that is electric, and it goes up to 9 is high, or it has high, and then it has numbers all the way down. So I put it at 5, which would be considered medium, okay? And when I do that, then it's gonna make it start to warm up. I need to let it get a little bit warm, but one of the things that I do is I will go ahead and make a little spray. And the spray people want you to do it this way because it works better, and I will do that. But what I like to do is just put a little teeny bit of the batter and just let it, and then once it starts cooking, then I know the pan is hot enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that over there in the sink. And we're just gonna wait until this starts to heat up. Now, let's start talking about the toppings over here. In our family, what we do is we take sour cream, and we will then, I'm gonna go ahead and open it, it's a brand new container. All right. we take the sour cream and we just spread it on the crepe, and then we put a little bit of the jam. I happen to have blackberry and I have raspberry. Melody, which kind are you gonna want today?
Probably raspberry.
Raspberry, all right, so we'll do something with raspberry in a minute. And then we sprinkle the powdered sugar on top. I'm gonna put this away. So right now, while I'm waiting, I have a few seconds. I can put things away, make life a little easier for Mom. I happen to be the mom, so it's easier for me. All right, I'm gonna put things back where they belong. And I take a quick peek over here. It's definitely heating up, but it's still not even making a pancake yet, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna get this ready. I'm gonna put a brand new spoon in my powdered sugar. And now I am almost ready. Get a spoon for the sour cream and a spoon for the preserves. So we will be ready to go as soon as the crepes are ready. Okay, all right, so those are ready to go. I'm gonna get them right here. And we, of course, are gonna need plates to eat on. Now, all right, we'll get ready for Melody's. One of the things I like to do also is I like to zap in the microwave the plates so that they're warm, so that the food doesn't get cold too fast. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a minute. All right, now we're gonna come over and start watching because these are just about ready to start cooking. So this is something important for you to see. When you make pancakes or anything like this, and Melody can get in really close with this, you can see little bubbles, because what happens is the little bubbles pop up, and that's the liquid, the water coming out of the batter as it heats and as it cooks, so that it turns hard instead of liquid, becomes a solid instead of a liquid. So you'll see that it's doing that. And one of the things I'm going to be checking is, can I, and you got to get this in here where you can see it really close, can I move the whole thing? Can I lift it a little bit? If I can, that means it's starting to be ready to be a crepe. I'm going to flip that over. That's still very pale, so it's not quite hot enough yet to start making those beautiful golden caramelized crepes that you're going to see in a minute. So we're going to let this one kind of keep going, and I know that somebody who's behind the camera is going to want to eat this, right? Mm-hmm. So I know that my little tasters will not go to waste. Okay. Now this is something where also, if you make for a whole bunch of people, you can actually just have your oven at the lowest possible setting and put like a pie pan in there. As you cook them, you can just put them right in there and they'll stay warm until everybody's ready for breakfast. So you can make double batches, triple batches, whatever you want. I used to do a breakfast for all of my children's friends on testing days. And so kids would come over to our house, sometimes up to 30 kids would come and have breakfast with us. And I would have eggs and sausage and bacon, and then I would make crepes. And I would make the batter the night before and make some of them the night before and just warm them up in the oven. And then I would be making them fresh as they came along. All right, so get in here, Miss Melody. See how it's kind of puffing up and exciting here when I flip it over? It's starting to get that golden brown edge. So I know that we're getting close to crepe time. And so as soon as this is all kind of cookie cooked, I know I'm ready to cook all of them, and they cook really quickly. And that is the neat thing about it. When you get really good, you can do 2 at a time, 2 different pans. And you just, one's cooking, the other one you're flipping, then you're cooking the other one and you're flipping the other one, and they go back and forth. It makes it nice and easy. All right, so, yep, this is definitely, oh, Melody, can you get in there and take a look at how it's all kind of golden-y, starting to make, it looks like a little leaf here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna put this over here. Melody will sneak over in a minute and eat it once I start cooking. All right, so the very first thing is, while it's up off of the stove, just do a quick spray. You just take the thing and you just pour it, and now come watch this. I actually rotate the pan, and I do it until the pancake is kind of as big as it's gonna kind of get on the bottom of the pan. Now, if you wanna start out with a 1/4 cup as your measuring cup, a little 1/4 cup, or use half of the thing. I'm used to doing this, so I can do it with the bigger amounts. But you wanna make sure that you learn how to cook them first. So if you start with a 1/4 cup, you'll be able to kind of flip it. That was the number one problem for all my kids, was learning the right temperatures and times on how to cook them. So that's an important little detail. Okay, now you'll notice that right away, if you can get in here, Melody, right away you can see that the edges are already dry, and it's just in the center where there's a little bit of the liquid, and you don't want to flip it until it looks dry and no longer wet and sticky. You want it to look dry, the whole thing. And right now I can see already that the edges are definitely thin and going to be nice and golden, and I can see that it's already getting nice and puffy and ready to be flipped. But I want to wait long enough that the entire thing is all dry. One more second. Very close, very close. All right, I'm going to flip now. So watch, come watch, show. I want to slide my spatula so that it kind of lifts. If it doesn't lift, it's not ready yet. But you just kind of quick, did you see how I just shove real quick underneath? And I can actually see that little spatula underneath. And then just flippity flop. And look how nice and golden that is. The back side cooks much faster, much faster than the front side because it's already mostly cooked. So right now all you're doing is making the back side golden. It doesn't need to continuously cook. And in fact, I'm going to flip it real quickly so you can see how quickly this already got partially done on the other side. But I want it to be a little bit more golden. And so now all you're doing is flipping it every few seconds, I would say maybe 15, 20 seconds, to kind of see if it's getting ready and golden. But it goes pretty quickly. Alrighty. And you might say, I don't like sour cream, or I don't like this or that and the other. You can do it with syrup, you can do it with whatever. But the first thing you're going to want to do is try one with nothing on it so that you can see what it tastes like without any stuff on it. And then you just try different experimentations and stuff. But the sour cream does not taste like sour cream once you put jam with it. Then it just tastes like a creamy jam. It doesn't have that taste of sour cream by itself. It just makes it this creamy concoction. All right, I'm going to flip one more time. It should look pretty now. Oh yeah. Yeah. This crepe is looking lovely. So now, because I'm going to be preparing, I'm going to take this completely off the heat for a moment. I'm going to put it right there, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go ahead and start another crepe because I know that I have the time for it to cook. And again, I remember I'm just doing that roll it. And I'll just tell you right now, the stove is already hotter, I can tell. So I only have a few seconds. So I come over here, I'm just gonna get a little bit of sour cream and you just kind of just a little bit. Taste, some people like a lot more, some people like a little less. But you just put a little bit in there. And then I'm gonna put these are preserves, so they're a little bit more liquidy than jam. And then you literally just roly, and and voila, which is French for yay. No, actually it means here you go. So, but this is how you make my famous secret recipe, French crepes. I hope you enjoy.